Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Top 444, where we talk about four really cool things. I forgot that we're doing this on YouTube. You get to see my nice warm rice sock. Take a sock, fill it with rice, put it in the microwave. It's great, especially if your wife is having hot flashes and has the AC on. That's right, my AC is running. It's very cold in here. I like to kill her with a sword. Speaking of swords,
Oh,
today
Ooh.
we're talking about some of the cooler swords in Marvel or DC or even in films if you want to go as far-fetched as that. We normally talk about comic books, so I think we're going to stay kind of that way, but you can venture off a little bit, fellers. There is crossover, of course.
sure.
So
Huh.
who's the cool sword they want to talk about first?
I mean, fortunately, this has been a comic, but mostly books I read when I was a kid, and I am going with the classic of Stormbringer.
Stormbringer.
Elric of Melniboné? I'm not gonna.
Melnibonia.
I don't think that's it either.
I don't think that's it.
I've always thought
I
it was
I always thought I always thought it was Melbourne because he was Australian.
no, the
That's
From
what I
down
thought
Melnibonia.
too.
under. Yeah,
I
throw
am
that demon on the
40%
body.
sure. 40% sure it's Melnibonian. 42.
42. 42%. Stormbringer is a semi-intelligent artifact that drains the souls of its victims to keep the poor albino sorcerer Elric alive. If you haven't read any of the Elric books, once again, it's a series I don't know if it holds up, but I just consumed all of them
We loved him as kids.
in high school and college. Yeah, loved them.
Absolutely. That is a great sword. You're kind of like of all of us, I think Josh, you're probably the most knowledgeable swords. You do teach sword fighting, German sword fighting at Game of Thrones stuff. What kind of sword was Stormbreaker?
I
Breaker.
mean, by all accounts, I'd say it was a longsword.
Just a long sword. Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
LT can go next.
LT, come on.
All right, I'm gonna go from fantasy, and I'm gonna choose another classic. I'm gonna choose Sting from The Hobbit.
Oh,
Ooh,
ding.
nice.
Yeah.
Sting, of course, glows when it gets close to orcs, and was the sword of uh, Bilbo Baggins.
He found that among he found
Barrel
that
white.
among Smog's Ford, right? Is that correct?
No, the barrel
Or
white.
before that, he found that in the Gollum's cave.
Nope, the
Oh,
barrel
girl,
white.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. It's a
and
very is it
now
by the way?
What's that?
it's a
Is it
short sword.
it's a very short sword.
It's a very short sword.
I think humans might call it a dagger with a
Well, but in the movie replicas, it is a short sword.
okay.
So at least in the movies, it was a short sword.
Josh, do you remember from the books if it was considered a short sword or just a dagger with a growth hormone problem?
I don't know how Sting was described on the page in the Hobbit. Honestly,
Well, that's
not
something
sure.
for us to look in later.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, who do you got?
So I'm going to go with the Soul Taker sword that Katana wields.
Ooh, DC
Oh,
Comics
yeah.
Katana sword.
Yeah, DC Comics Katana. She has a katana called the Soul Taker Soul that grants her the ability to capture the spirit of every being that the sword kills and allows her to communicate with those deceased souls that include her relatives and husband.
And her husband, she communicates with her husband in that sword.
Yes. Yes. Yep. It's a
I
way
don't know
to,
otherwise.
way to keep loved ones with you wherever you go.
That's a little creepy.
Yeah, it's very creepy. This is Katana. She talks to her sword.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
creepy.
Ugh.
Uh,
What about you,
all right,
Tom?
well, me, I have to go with another comic book one, and this is the Sword of Nemesis. Nemesis is the daughter of Deadly Ernest, one of my favorite villains in the Marvel universe for no reason other than I just kind of like it. There have actually been 4 women to don the Nemesis mantle. The thing that's really cool about this stupid sword, and the thing that caught my attention when it was first used, is that supposedly it's only like an atom thick. So it can cut through pretty much anything. And I know that's absolutely a dumb thing to even think about in real life, but in comic book form, to me, that seems pretty cool. Like somehow this one atom thick sword, of course, it can cut through anything. It's just going between atoms and then, moving slightly. It does give her, it's kind of a magical sword, but that's never really talked about too much in the comics about how it's magical. It's kind of like a hybrid sword between magic and science. And I think it's really cool. Anybody else like that sword?
I mean, I love every sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sword is definitely kind of a hybrid between a long sword and a rapier. More rapier than long sword, but it has a couple of long sword kind of things. Oh, the name of the sword is Skell.
Gal?
Well, it might be Cell because it's Scell.
No.
So it could just be Cell or Skell, depending on how hard or how.
Off the seas.
Yeah. It's supposedly the sword offer gives her flight, longevity, and even time travel. The sword sends the souls of those it kills back in time and astral projection. A lot of that isn't really talked about because sometimes it's talked about more as a science sword and sometimes it's talked about more as a magic sword. So depending on who's wielding it and who's riding it, I suppose, is where you're going to get the origin story on that.
That's fair.
Who has any honorable mentions?
I've got an honorable mention.
Let's hear it.
Dane Whitman's Ebony Blade.
The Ebony
Ebony
Blade.
Blade,
Yeah. What magical properties does the Ebony Blade have?
Oh, it corrupts the person that uses it, and it also is, can cut through almost anything.
That's not a bad thing, a sword.
Cool.
All right.
I have 2 honorable mentions. One, obviously, is a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to suggest a comic to everyone, but
Oh.
particularly to Josh.
Oh.
Danger Street, #9.
Danger Street?
Yes. And it's a 12-issue series by Tom King. That issue, I think if it's not all one sword fight, it's mostly one sword fight
Okay.
between the Manhunter and the assassin.
All right. I will look at Danger Street.
Danger Street #9. I will give you your money back if you do not like it.
Excellent. The long box guarantee on that one.
Long box guarantee. Nice.
From Dungeons and Dragons, I just want to mention the dancing sword. Anytime a character might got the dancing sword, I was always thrilled. That is awesome. You just started fighting and it keeps fighting for you. I got to go make a sandwich. I got to take a second to pull out a potion of healing. Sword, keep fighting. I loved that. Yeah.
My honorable mentions. I got. Okay. Well, there's Dragon Fang, which Doctor Strange finds and gives to Valkyrie,
Mhm.
and Magic Soul Sword.
Magic Soul Sword.
Yeah, because I love magic.
I do want to give a quick shout out to both Needle and Heart Drinker. Just because I think those are 2 of the, I think one is a cooler name sword and one is the stupidest name sword. Joffrey decided to call his sword Heart Drinker for some reason.
He was a douche.
He's a
Well,
douche.
That's because Heartbreaker was already taken by, by the song.
By Pat Benatar.
Exactly.
Dream Taker would have been a better name for a sword than Heart Drinker.
It's already copyrighted, Tom.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. When has that ever stopped that guy?
Yeah. He's a douche.
Now there are thousands and thousands of other really good swords out there. There really are. If you have one you'd like to mention, put it down in the comments right there below. All right, hit the like button over there, hit the subscribe button over here, and tell us what you think. And if you have an idea for what you'd like us to cover for a top four, let us know. We're not doing hammers. We might do hammers.
We might do it first.
We might do hammers. Oh, I can think of 4 right off the bat. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it in your pants for the next week.
Mhm.
All right. And that's it for the Longbox, guys. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye bye.